Yes, he is there. Yes, Guru. Yes, Guru. Which canto, Maharaj? Sixth canto. Chapter 9.
संसारदावानललिधलोका त्रणाय कारुण्यघनाघनात्वं प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणर्णवस्य वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् महाप्रभु कीर्तननित्यगीता वादित्रमाद्यन्मनसुरसेन रोमाञ्चकम्पास्तुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमर्जनार्दो युक्तस्य भक्तां शनियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधः श्रीभगवत्प्रसाद स्वादन्नतृप्तान् हरिभक्तिसङ्गं कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजता सदैव वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपार माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नां प्रतीक्षणास्वादनलोलोपस्य वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् निकुञ्जयोनुरतिकेलिसिद्धै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्षादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैरुक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभुर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरुश्रीचरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य अप्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायंस्तुवंस्तस्य यशस्वी सन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणारविन्दम् ध्यायंस्तुवंस्तस्य यशस्वी सन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणारविन्दम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्यकशिपुर्वक्षः शिलाटङ्कानखालये इतो निसिंह परतो निसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो निसिंह बहिर्निसिंह हृदये निसिंह निसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलितहिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नृसिंहदेव 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 जय नृसिंहदेव जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज सर्व भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। भक्ति शिरोमणि प्रह्लाद महाराज की जय। नमो नमः तुलसी
Manoj, I'm reading from Canto 6, chapter 1.
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha Shri Radha Krishna Seva Bhavo Hey Abhilashi Ye tomar sharan loy taro vancha purna hoy kripa kori karo tare vrindavanavasi moraye abhilash vilas kunje diyovan Nayane heribo sada Yugalarupa Rashi Ei nivedana dharo Sakhiranu karo Sevadhikar diye karo nijadasi Dina Krishna dase koi Ei namora hoy Shri Radha Govinda preme Sada ye no bhasi Tulasi Krishna preyasi namo namah Yani kani cha papani Brahma hatyadi kani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade Yani kani japapani Brahma hatyadi kani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade Yani kani japapani Brahma hatyadi kani cha Tani tani pranashanti Pradakshina pade pade Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Tulsi Maharani Jayo Vrinde Devi Jayo Tulsi Maharani Jayo Vrinde Devi Vrindaye Tulasi Deviye Priyaye Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Vrindaye Tulasi Deviye Priyaye Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Vrindaye Tulasi Deviye Priyaye Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. Yes, Guru.
So reading from Canto 6, Chapter 8, Appearance of Demon Vritrasura. Is that alright, Bharat? Okay. Reading from text 1.
Text 1. Translation. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued. Vishwarup, who was engaged as the priest of the demigods, had 3 heads, and he used one to drink the beverage, somras, and another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from authorities. Purport. One cannot directly perceive the kingdom of heaven, its king, and other inhabitants, or how they perform their various engagements, for no one can go to the heavenly planets. Although modern scientists have invented many powerful space vehicles, they cannot even go to the moon, not to speak of the other planets. By direct experience, one cannot learn anything beyond the range of human perception. One must hear from authorities. Therefore, Sukadev Goswami, a great personality, says that what I am describing to you, O King, is what I have heard from authoritative sources. This is the Vedic system. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti because it must be received by hearing from the authorities. It is beyond the realm of our false experiments and experimental knowledge. Text 2. Translation. O Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods were related to Vishwarup from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire while chanting the mantras such as Indrai Idam Swaha, this is meant for King Indra, and Idam Agnaye, this is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted these mantras and offered each of the demigods his proper share. Text 3. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of the demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons because they were his relatives through his mother. Purport. Because of Vishwarupa's affection for the families of both the demigods and the demons, he appeased the Supreme Lord on behalf of both dynasties. When he offered oblations in the fire on the behalf of Asuras, he did so secretly without the knowledge of the demigods. Text 4. Once upon a time, however, the king of heaven, Indra, understood that Vishwarupa was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on the behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons, and in great anger at Vishwarup, he cut Vishwarup's 3 heads from his shoulders. Text 5. Thereafter the head, which was meant for drinking somaras, was transformed into Kapinjala, which is a francolin partridge. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into Kalavinka, which is a sparrow, and the head meant for eating food became Titiri, a common partridge. Text 6. Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then, to purify himself, he distributed the reactions of his sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. Text 7. In return for King Indra's benediction that ditches in the earth would be automatically filled, the land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Because of those sinful reactions, we may find deserts on the surface of the earth. Purport. Because deserts are manifestations of the earth's diseased condition, no auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed in a desert. Persons destined to live in deserts are understood to be sharing the reactions for the sins of Brahmahatya, the killing of Brahmana. Text 8. In return for Indra's benedictions that their branches and twigs would grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahmana. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap from the trees. Therefore, one is forbidden to drink this sap. Text 9. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that they would be able to enjoy lusty desires continuously, even during pregnancy, for as long as sex is not injurious to the embryo, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. And as a result of those reactions, women manifest the signs of menstruation every month. Purport. Women as a class are very lusty, and apparently their continuous lusty desires are never satisfied. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that there will be no cessation to their lusty desires, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Text 10. And in return for Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances in which it was mixed, water accepted the 1/4 of the sinful reactions. Therefore, there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, these should be avoided. Purport. If water is mixed with milk, fruit juice, or similar other substances, it increases their volume, and no one can understand which has increased. In return for this benediction, water accepted 1/4 of Indra's sinful reactions, and these sinful reactions are visible in foam and bubbles. Therefore, one should avoid foam and bubbles while collecting drinking water. Text 11. Translation. After Vishwarup was killed, his father Twasta performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. He offered oblations in the sacrificial fire, saying, O enemy of Kindra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay. Purport. There was some defect in Twashta's chanting of the mantra because he chanted it long instead of short, and therefore the meaning changed. Twashta intended to chant the word Indra Shatro, meaning O enemy of Indra. In this mantra, the word Indra is in the possessive case, which is called Sashti. And the word Indra Shatro is called Tat Purusha compound, which is Tat Purusha Samasha. Unfortunately, instead of chanting the mantra short, Twasta chanted it long, and its meaning changed from the enemy of Indra to Indra, who is an enemy. Consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vitrasu, of whom Indra was the enemy. Text 12. Thereafter, from the southern side of the sacrificial fire, known as Anvaharya, came a fearful personality who looked like a destroyer of entire creation at the end of the millennium. Text 13 to 17. Like arrows released in four directions, the demon's body grew day after day. Tall and blackish, he appeared like a burnt hill and was as lustrous as a big array of clouds in the evening. The hair on the demon's body and his beard and mustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, as if holding the three worlds on the points of his blazing trident. Dancing and shouting with a loud voice, he made the entire surface of the earth tremble as if from an earthquake. As he yawned again and again, he seemed to be trying to swallow the whole sky. The whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. He seemed to be licking up all the stars in the sky with his tongue and eating the entire universe with his long, sharp teeth. Seeing this gigantic demon everywhere, in great fear, ran here and there in all directions. Text 18. That very fearful demon was actually the son of Twashta. That fearful demon was actually the son of Twashta, covered all the planetary systems by the dint of his austerity, and therefore he was named Vritra, or who covers everything. Purport. In the Vedas it is said, Sa iman lokan avrinot tat vritasya vritatvam. Because the demon covered all the planetary system, his name was Vritrasu. Text 19. The demigods headed by Indra charged the demon with their soldiers, striking him with their own transcendental bows and arrows and other weapons, but Vitrasur swallowed all their weapons. Text 20. Struck with wonder and disappointment upon seeing the strength of the demon, the demigods lost their own strength. Therefore, they all met together to try to please the Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, by worshipping him. Text 21. The demigods said, the three worlds are created by five elements, namely earth, fire, water, air, and ether, which are controlled by various demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma, being very much afraid that the time factor will end our existence, we offer presentations unto time by performing our work as time dictates. The time factor himself, however, is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, let us now worship that Supreme Lord who alone can give us full protection. Purport. When one is afraid of being killed, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped by all demigods, beginning from Brahma, although they are in charge of various elements of this material world. The words Bhibeti Yasmat indicates that all the demons, regardless of how great and powerful, they fear the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods, being afraid of death, took shelter of the Lord and offered him these prayers. Although the time factor is fearful to everyone, fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore known as Abhaya, fearless. Taking shelter of the Supreme Lord brings actual fearlessness, and therefore the demigods decided to take shelter of the Lord. Text 22. Free from all material conceptions of existence and never wonderstruck by anything, the Lord is always jubilant and fully satisfied by his own spiritual perfection. He has no material designations, and therefore he is steady and unattached. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only shelter of everyone. Anyone desiring to be protected by others is certainly a great fool who desires to cross the sea by holding the tail of a dog. Purport. A dog can swim in water, but if a dog dives in the ocean and someone wants to cross the ocean by holding the dog's tail, he is certainly a fool number one. A dog cannot cross the ocean, nor can a person cross the ocean by catching a dog's tail. Similarly, one who desires to cross the ocean of nations should not seek the shelter of any demigod or anyone else but the fearless shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore says, Samashrita ye padapallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. The Lord's lotus feet are an indestructible boat, and if one takes shelter of that boat, he can easily cross the ocean of nations. Consequently, there are no dangers for a devotee, although he lives within this material world, which is full of dangers at every step. One should seek the shelter of the all-powerful, instead of trying to be protected by one's own concocted ideas. Text 23. The Manu, named King Satyavrata, formerly saved himself by tying a small boat of the entire world to the horn of the Matsya avatar, the fish incarnation. By the grace of Matsya avatar, Manu saved himself from the great danger of the flood. May that same fish incarnation save us from the great and fearful danger caused by the son of Twashta. Text 24. In the beginning of creation, a tremendous wind caused fierce waves of inundating water. The great waves made such a horrible sound that Lord Brahma almost fell from his seat on the lotus onto the water of the devastation. But he was saved with the help of the Lord. Thus, we also expect the Lord to protect us from this dangerous condition. Text 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created us by his external potency, and by whose mercy we expand the creation of the universe, is always situated before us as a super soul. but we cannot see his form. We are unable to see him because all of us think that we are separate and independent gods. Purport. Here is an explanation of why the conditioned soul cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Even though the Lord appears before us as Lord Krishna or Lord Ramachandra and lives in the human society as a leader or the king, but the conditioned soul cannot understand him. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanu ashritam. Rascals or mudhas deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking him to be an ordinary human being. However insignificant we are, we think that we are also God. We can also create a universe, or that we can also create another God. This is why we cannot see or understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, Lingam eva pashyama kadachit abhimanastu devanam apeshan eva praya kaleshu nasti eva taratmayena sopitu. We are all conditioned to various degrees, but we think that we are God. This is why we cannot understand who God is or see him face to face. Text 26 to 27. Translation. By his inconceivable internal potency, the Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into various transcendental bodies as Vamanadev, the incarnation of strength among the demigods, Parshuram, the incarnation among the saints, Narsingadev and Varaha, the incarnations among the animals, Matsya and Kurma, the incarnations among the aquatics. He accepted various transcendental bodies among all types of living entities, and among human beings he specially appears as Lord Krishna and Lord Rama. By his causeless mercy, he protects the demigods who are always harassed by the demons. And he is the supreme worshipable deity of all living entities. He is the supreme cause, represented as male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form, Virat Roop. In our fearful condition, let us take shelter of him, for we are sure that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, will give us protection. Purport. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is ascertained to be the original cause of creation. Sridhara Swami, in his commentary, Bhavartha Deepika, replies to the idea that Prakriti and Purusha are the causes of the cosmic manifestation. As stated herein, Param Pradhanam Purusham Vishwamanyam, he is the supreme cause, represented as the male and the female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form. The word Prakriti, which is used to indicate the source of generation, refers to the material energy of the Supreme Lord, and the word Purusha refers to the living entities, who are the superior energy of the Lord. Both the Prakriti and Purusha ultimately enter the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Prakritim yanti mamikam. Although Prakriti and Purusha superficially appear to be the causes of the material manifestation, both are emanations of the different energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the cause of Prakriti and Purusha. He is the original cause, Sarva Karana Karanam. The Naradiya Purana says, Avikaropi Parama Prakritistu Vikarini Anu Pravishya Govinda Prakritischabhidhiyate. Both Prakriti and Purusha, which are inferior and superior energies, are emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, Gam Avishya, the Lord enters the Prakriti, and then the Prakriti creates different manifestations. Prakriti is not independent or beyond his energies. Vasudeva, Lord Shri Krishna, is the original cause of everything. Therefore, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.33, the Lord also says, Aham evasham evagre. Only I existed before the creation. This is confirmed in the Brahmanda Purana as follows. Smritir avyavadhanena prakartitvam iti sthiti ubhayatmaka shutitvad vasudeva parapuman prakriti purushashcheti shabdair eko bhidhiyate. To generate the universe, the Lord acts indirectly as Purusha and directly as Prakriti. But because both the energies emanate from Lord Vasudeva, the all-pervasive Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is known as both Prakriti and Purusha. Therefore, Vasudeva is the cause of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. Text 28. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, when all the demigods offered him their prayers, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, carrying his weapons, the conch shell, disc and club, appeared first within their hearts and then before them. Text 29 to 30. Translation. Surrounding and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, were 16 personal attendants, decorated with ornaments and appearing exactly like him, but without the mark of Srivatsa and the Kastuba jewel. O king, when all the demigods saw the Supreme Lord in that posture, smiling with eyes like the petals of the lotuses grown in autumn, they were overwhelmed with happiness and immediately fell down like rods, offering dandavats. Then they slowly rose and pleased the Supreme Lord by offering him prayers. Purport. In Vaikuntha Loka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has 4 hands and decorations like the Srivatsa mark on his chest and the gem known as Kastuba. These are special indications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's personal attendants and the other devotees in Vaikuntha have the same features, except for the Srivatsa mark and the Kastuba gem. Text 31. The demigod said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are competent to give the results of sacrifice, and you are also the time factor that destroys all such results in due course. You are the one who releases the chakra to kill the demons. O Lord, who possesses many varieties of names, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Text 32. O Supreme Controller, you control the 3 destinations: promotion to the heavenly planets, birth as a human being, and condemnation in hell. Yet your supreme abode is Vaikuntha Dham. And since we appeared after you, created this cosmic manifestation, your activities are impossible for us to understand. We therefore have nothing to offer you but our humble obeisances. Purport. An inexperienced man generally does not know what to beg from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is under the jurisdiction of the created material world, and no one knows what benediction to ask when praying to the Supreme Lord. People generally pray to be promoted to the heavenly planets because they have no information of Vaikuntha Loka. Srila Madhvacharya quotes the following verse. Devalokat Pitralokat Nirayat Shapi Yat Param Tishtabhya Paramam Sthanam Vaishnavam Vidusham Gati. There are different planetary systems known as Devaloka, Pitriloka, Niraya. So when one transcends these various planetary systems and enters the Vaikuntha Loka, he achieves the ultimate resort of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas have nothing to do with other planetary systems. Text 33. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Narayana, O Vasudev, Original Person, O Most Exalted Person, Supreme Experience, Welfare Personified, O Supreme Benediction, Supremely Merciful and Changeless, O Support of the Cosmic Manifestation, Sole Proprietor of all planetary systems, Master of everything, and the Husband of Goddess of Fortune. Your Lordship is realized by the topmost sannyasis who wander about the world to preach Krishna consciousness, fully absorbed in samadhi through bhakti yoga, because their minds are concentrated upon you. They can receive the conception of your personality in their fully purified hearts. When the darkness in their hearts is completely eradicated and you are revealed to them, the transcendental bliss they enjoy is the transcendental form of your Lordship. No one but such persons can realize you. Therefore, we simply offer you our respectful obeisances. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has numerous transcendental names pertaining to different grades of revelation to various grades of devotees and transcendentalists. When he is realized in his impersonal form, he is called Supreme Brahman. And when he realized as Paramatma, he is called Antaryami. And when he expands himself into different forms for material creation, he is called Shirodakshay Vishnu.
जी कुमार स्टोरीज का ब्लॉग करता ठीक जो उसने छापा था हाँ हाँ ठीक है मैं कुछ बिल्कुल ले आएंगे वो आज ही ना वो आ रहे हैं 9 के मंतन उसमें ले आएंगे
Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. When he is realized in his impersonal form, he is called Supreme Brahman. And when he is realized as Paramatma, he is called Antaryami. And when he expands himself in different forms for material creation, he is called Shirodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Karanodakashayi Vishnu. When he is realized Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, the Chaturvyu, who are beyond the three forms of Vishnu, he is the Vaikuntha Narayana. Above realization of Narayana is the realization of Baladev, and above that is the realization of Krishna. All these realizations are possible when one engages fully in devotional service. The covered core of one's heart is then completely open to receiving and understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various forms. Text 34. Durvabodha ta iva tvaya. Translation. O Lord, you need no support, and although you have no material body, you do not need cooperation from us. Since you are the cause of the cosmic manifestation, and you supply its material ingredients without being transformed, you create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation by yourself. Nevertheless, although you appear engaged in material activity, you are transcendental to all material qualities, and consequently, these transcendental activities of yours are extremely difficult to understand. Purport. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 says, Goloka eva nivasatya khilatma bhuta. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is always situated in Goloka Vrindavan. It is also said, Vrindavanam parityajya param padam ekam na gacchati. Krishna never goes even a step from Vrindavan. Nevertheless, although Krishna is situated in his own abode, Goloka Vrindavan, he is simultaneously all-pervading and therefore present everywhere. This is very difficult for a conditioned soul to understand. But a devotee can understand how Krishna, without undergoing any changes, can simultaneously be in his abode and be all-pervasive. The demigods are understood to be various limbs of the Supreme Lord's body. And although the Supreme Lord has no material body and does not need anyone's help, he is spread everywhere. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Nevertheless, he is not present everywhere in his spiritual form. According to Mayavad philosophy, the Supreme Truth, being an all-pervasive, does not need a transcendental form. The Mayavadis suppose that since his form is distributed everywhere, so he has no form. But this is untrue. The Lord keeps his transcendental form, but at the same time he extends everywhere, in every nook and corner of the material creation. Text 35. These are our inquiries. The ordinary conditioned soul is subject to the material laws, and he thus receives the fruits of his actions. Does your Lordship, like an ordinary human being, exist within this material world in a body produced of material modes? Do you enjoy or suffer the good or bad results of actions under the influence of time, past work, and so forth? Or, on the contrary, you are present here only as a neutral witness who is self-sufficient, free from all materialistic desires, and always full of spiritual potency. We certainly cannot understand your actual position. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he descends to this material world for two purposes, namely, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, to relieve the devotees and to kill demons or non-devotees. These two kinds of action are the same for the Absolute Truth. When the Lord comes to punish the demons, he bestows his favor upon them. And similarly, when he delivers his devotees and gives them relief, he also bestows his favor. Thus, the Lord bestows favors equally among the conditioned souls. When a conditioned soul gives relief, when a conditioned soul gives relief to others, he acts piously. And when he gives trouble to others, he acts impiously. But the Lord is neither pious nor impious. He is always full in his transcendental spiritual potency, by which he shows equal mercy to the punishable and the protectable. The Lord is apapa-viddham. He is never contaminated by the reactions of the so-called sinful activities. Krishna was present on this earth. He killed many inimical non-devotees, but they all received sarupya in other worlds. They returned to their original spiritual bodies. One who does not know the Lord's position says that God is unkind to him, but merciful to others. Actually, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9.29, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. I am equal to everyone, and no one is my enemy, and no one is my friend. But he also says, Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahiteshu chapyaham. If one becomes my devotee and fully surrenders unto me, I will give him special attention. Text 36. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all contradictions can be reconciled in you. O Lord, since you are the Supreme Person, the reservoir of unlimited spiritual qualities, the Supreme Controller, your unlimited glories are inconceivable to the conditioned souls. Many modern theologians argue about the right and wrong without knowing what is actually right. Their arguments are always false and their judgments inconclusive, because they have no authorized evidence with which to gain knowledge of you. Because their minds are agitated by scriptures containing false conclusions, they are unable to understand the truth concerning you. Furthermore, because of polluted eagerness to arrive at the right conclusion, their theories are incapable of revealing you, who are transcendental to their material conceptions. You are one without a second, and therefore in you contradictions like doing and not doing, happiness and distress, are not contrary. Your potency is so great that it can do and undo anything as you like. With the help of that potency, what is impossible for you? Since there is no duality in your constitutional position, you can do everything by the influence of your energy. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being self-sufficient, is full of transcendental bliss, Atmarama. He enjoys bliss in two ways: when he appears happy and when he appears distressed. Distinctions and contradictions are impossible in him because from him have they all emanated. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all knowledge, all potency, all strength, opulence, and influence. There is no limit to his powers. Since he is full in all transcendental attributes, nothing abominable from the material world can exist in him. He is transcendental and spiritual, and therefore conceptions of material happiness and distress do not apply to him. We should not be astonished to find contradictions in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, there are no contradictions. That is the meaning of his being supreme. Because he is all powerful, he is not subject to the conditioned soul's arguments regarding his decision or his non-existence, his existence. He is pleased to protect his devotees by killing their enemies. He enjoys both the killing and the protecting. Such freedom from duality applies not only to the Lord, but also to his devotees. In Vrindavan, the damsels of Rajabhumi enjoy transcendental bliss in the company of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and they feel the same transcendental bliss in separation when Krishna and Balaram leave for Mathura or Vrindavan. There is no question of material pains and pleasures for either the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his pure devotees, although they are sometimes superficially said to be distressed or happy. One way is Atmarama, is blissful in both ways. Non-devotees cannot understand the contradictions present in the Supreme Lord or His devotees. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. The transcendental pastimes can be understood through devotional service. To non-devotees, they are inconceivable, achintya. Achintya khalu ye bhava natam starkena yojayet. The Supreme Lord and His form, name, pastimes, paraphernalia are inconceivable to non-devotees. And one should not try to understand such realities simply by logical arguments. They will not bring one to the right conclusion about the absolute truth. Text 37. A rope causes fear for the bewildered persons who considers it a snake, but not for a person with proper intelligence who knows it to be only a rope. Similarly, you as a super soul in everyone's heart inspire fear or fearlessness according to one's intelligence. But in you there is no duality. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11 the Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the reservoir of everything, including all knowledge, all truth, and all contradictions. The example cited herein is very appropriate. A rope is 1/4. A rope is one truth, but some mistake it for a snake, whereas others know it to be a rope. Similarly, devotees who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not see contradictions in Him, but non-devotees regard Him as a snake-like source of all fear. For example, when Narsimhadev appeared, Prahlad Maharaj saw the Lord as the Supreme Solace, whereas his father, a demon, saw him as the ultimate death. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. As he said, Maharaj, we are trying to do some classes, Saturday classes, Maharaj, in the auditorium. Okay. 200 people are coming in the Saturday program, Maharaj, in the auditorium. And we have also started the online program, which happens every day in the evening. So, in that program, around 50 devotees join. Yes, Guru Maharaj, many people leave, but some of them have retained, Maharaj. It is a little tough, Maharaj, to retain them, but somehow some people are still with us, Maharaj. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Are you happy, Guru Maharaj, with the services? So anything I can do for you, Guru Maharaj? Thank you.
रेस्ट करेंगे रेस्ट
चप्पल पहने
Namaste Narsimhaya Radhadayani Vanakasi Pochaha Silatantaram
सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं वेषनं भद्रं नित्यं मृत्युं नमाम्यहम्। ॐ उग्रं विग्रं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं वेषनं भद्रं तं नमामः। ॐ उग्रं विग्रं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं वेषनं भद्रं तं